Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Your support really does make a huge difference. You'll find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org/contribute. Thank you so much.
Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Before we begin, does anyone have any burning questions about where they're at in their practice? Yes, Rosemarie.
Yeah, on the so I'm doing the inner line of the attaching the frame to the face, and I think I remembered the knot correctly, that it's not in the back, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, that's, and I thought,
You mean the knot to end?
well, when I run out of thread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I run out of thread, I don't knot it from the back by the sew.
That's right. You're using since you're not going all the way through to the back at any point while attaching that frame to the face. The same is true for ending your stitch and or your line of stitches. So you can use any of the hidden
Right.
methods of.
But I mean, I'm not going through the frame, but I am going through the silk.
When you're sewing that as you're sewing the frame to the face, the front of the face.
Yeah.
Or are you doing the back of the face?
The front.
So will you turn it that I may
Yes.
see is there silk there? Or are there stitches there?
Yeah.
So that's if you would pull those out. So when we do, before you do anything, let me demonstrate further. I have a strange setup here today, so bear with me. I don't have a tripod.
Oh, wow.
It is not, as I often joke, there are about 6 meters of stitches in a Rakasu, and I probably sewed 8. So if this is the first time that you're removing any length of stitches.
It's okay. I'm glad I asked. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked too. So let's see if I can make this make sense to us. Okay. I'm holding my iPhone by hand.
Oh, let me.
Come on. This is hard. Okay. So if you're attaching the frame to the face on this stitch here, is that correct?
Yes.
So when you do this stitch, what we want to catch is we definitely want to catch both layers of the frame. We want
Yes.
to catch however many layers of the blue face material we
The
have,
face. Uh-huh.
and we may catch the interfacing between the face and the silk, but we do not want the stitch to be
Ay, ay,
visible
ay.
at any time on the back in the silk. The risk is that your frame on the back, in fact, I think mine is a perfect example of this. The frame on the back may not be as thick as the frame on the front by 1 millimeter, but with how close these are to that edge, 1 millimeter could be just enough to expose those stitches on the back. So those stitches, the back side, I'm going to show. So these you do go all the way through, and I'm
Okay.
mentioning them only as an example because you can see that's what the back stitch looks like on the back. And this part of the back stitch should live between the face and the silk somewhere. So you just don't go all the way through the silk. I think I'm using more complicated language than is needed. When you're sewing, when you're attaching the frame to the front face, the biggest thing is it doesn't, as long as you get at least one layer of the face and both layers of the frame, and you don't go through the silk on the back.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. The only thing I'm going through is the front of the frame and the face. That's the only thing I'm going through in that line.
That's right. You may also catch the interfacing, which is perfectly fine, but you don't want to
Okay.
catch.
So actually,
White silk.
I just pinned it all wrong, you know? So, because I pinned, it would be impossible to do what I am supposed to do if it's all pinned together. So I've pinned the lining and the face to everything. You know, it's all pinned. Never mind. I think I know what to do. I don't know. Do you understand what I said?
I think so. Let me try.
Here, look. You can see.
Yeah. So the pins. Oh yes, I see. I see.
See what I'm saying? So okay. So all right. So I know what I'm doing today.
Yeah. So probably repin and then start
And
again.
re-stitch. Yeah.
Yeah, restitch. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Just a question,
Yes.
Rosemarie and John, just what you just said and showed, Rosemarie, that
Yeah.
indicated the way you pinned it resulted in that. Can you clarify the way that it's correct to pin it then? Just so I understand completely.
Yeah.
What you
I-
just showed was the wrong way, correct? How was it wrong?
So
I think John should take that.
Okay.
okay. So the Rakasu, the silk, at no point should we penetrate this silk visibly, at least. Well, y'all can't see what I'm doing. At no point should we penetrate this silk visibly from the front. You do penetrate it here for these stitches, but at that point it's fully concealed already. But when you're attaching this frame to this face, neither your pins nor your sewing needle should come through the silk on the back.
Got it. That's exactly what I wanted clarity on. Thank you.
So you know what? And so I'm starting to repin this. So I have to really pull the. See, this is okay. I'm just. See my basting of my silk to my interface. Oh, I got to pull the whole thing down. I see. So you have to really pull that whole edge down of the line. And the silk so that you can pin it.
Well, I would say that there's actually a better way to do it that
good.
would cause less strain and stress on the fabric.
Okay.
And it just requires, by the time that you finish this, you'll be very good at feeling between layers of fabric with your free hand.
Okay.
So Imagine that I'm taking my needle and I'm going and I'm starting somewhere where I'm not going through the back. And this is just for the, oh, I haven't noted this. This is just for the sake of this demonstration. This is not supposed to be analogous directly, but I'll demonstrate how I can kind of use, I'll try to explain what my hands are feeling. So this might be, I'm going to go very slowly and try to think about the way I'm communicating this, because this is not something people normally try to verbalize. So
Can't see the needle.
oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just starting.
Okay.
Let me get my hands off the Rakasu balloon beneath it. That's not a work mat. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my finger is directly behind where the needle would come through. And I'm showing how it coming through just for that demonstration. But I'm actually going to put my finger there and I'm going to just feel just until the very barest amount of needle starts to show through, just
Okay.
enough that I can definitely feel that is metal on my flesh. And then I'm
Okay.
going to back up, and this is tricky.
Oh,
And
you
then
mean you went all the way through and then you pulled back?
that's right. So just I'm going through just enough that it is perceptible to my skin.
Got it.
And at an angle, I'm holding the angle of the Namukebutsu stitch. So I'm already at my 45 degrees. Because that's how I that's my way of getting a good angle, is by holding the needle at that angle. It just gives me a longer line. So I'm feeling, and I'm going to kind of pull. How can I show this? I'm actually lifting the needle
Back.
towards me. I'm pulling the tip of the needle towards me, and that puts a tiny bit of tension in the fabric, just a tiniest bit that I can kind of feel when the bottom layer pops free from my needle. And the needle's sharp, so you could theoretically cut the silk or the fabric by doing this. So it's about using a, you don't want, it's so tricky to describe. You will get a feel for it pretty quickly.
I get the idea.
And that's how you do it. And that's how you do this entire process of attaching the frame to the face. And there are folks that with practice and with enough layers of stitch of fabric between can simply feel that they've gone through 2 or 3. And that is true for me as well. When this section here, where right here, that's 1, 2, 3 layers of face material, 1 layer of interfacing and 1 layer of silk. After going through the 2 layers of frame, I have 3 layers of face that I could go through, and I can just feel that I'm only through a couple of them, and I'm definitely not through on the back, and I don't have to go to where I can feel the needle on my flesh. I can just feel that I've caught.
Right.
And you can also do that by using the tip of the needle. As I mentioned, you kind of hold it at an angle and lift ever slow. How can I demonstrate this? So this finger is the bottom fabric, and I've gone through and I'm very gently kind of putting tension until I can feel that I'm no longer in that bottom piece. Then I angle and go with my stitch from there.
Okay. So in terms of pinning, so here's the back. So it's like this.
Can you raise it? Yeah, there.
And then I'll do this, and then to pin, I have to pull this down, right?
You should not need to do that, no.
Well, how can I pin if I pin it through this way? You know what I mean?
It's the same way that I've been describing is actually how you will also pin.
Okay, I don't have to pull it down, but I have to keep my fingers in there.
No, because you're keeping your finger. I'm going to fold over my little demo piece. So let me find a pin. Okay, so let us imagine that on this demo piece, that this top piece is my 2 layers of frame. So this is the visible frame, and this is that seam allowance on the back. So I've got 2 layers there. And let's pretend that I have 1 layer of face,
Okay,
and then this is the silk on the back.
right.
So first, you're going to be pinning away from the face. So that's one thing that helps. But I'm going to do, as I was describing, let me see how close I can actually get
Oh,
to
you
the
mean do
edge.
it the same way that you did the stitch?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So I can feel there's the
oh,
barest bit of metal that's visible there.
I see.
And even on the silk, that much poking through, if I'm going through the silk, even that much will not be enough to leave a visible mark in the silk. So from there, I'm backing up and turning the angle of the pin and feeling that it's released that silk.
Okay,
And then I pin, and so I still got some fabric. So it actually is easier with even more layers. I wasn't paying enough attention to my fingers and too much to the screen. Let me actually just do it on camera. And you should be able
I
to,
see. And if I catch the interfacing, it's okay?
absolutely. Yeah. As long as it's not
Okay.
visible on the back and isn't leaving marks in the silk.
Oh my God, it's a, can you imagine if I kept going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked, and I wish I had saw or caught that
No,
sooner.
that's okay.
One
No,
of the
that's a lesson in itself. Just ask away.
Yes, absolutely. Let their don't set yourself up for
Yeah,
questions
Right.
and such.
Hey, Rosemarie,
yes.
one thing I learned when I was doing that part is, like everything John said, and then when you pull back and you come, you can hear that interface pop. You can actually hear it.
Good. I will listen for that.
Yeah, listen for it because
Yeah.
that helped me a lot when I knew I could hear it.
Okay.
And
This
you
is
get used to it, don't you? You get used to that little, after a while, you get used to the feel of it.
Pop, pop.
well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because the pinning will take a while, I'll get used to it with the pinning
Oh.
first.
Yes, definitely. Very good. Any other burning questions, so to speak?
Well, I was just going to ask it, like, it's the reverse of Rosemary's question, really, because I'm sewing the first row of the back, of the back to the, and it's just through the silk and the interfacing, maybe, is
That's
it?
right. That's right. Yeah.
And
Just
it's the Namokabutsu stitch like we did on the front for the first line on the back.
Yes, exactly. And it will be so these corners and that inner stitch attaching the frame to the back. These are the only 2 Namokebutsu stitch lines you will see on the back. So you're exactly right.
Brilliant. Great. Thank you.
Maria, I'm at the exact same point you are.
Oh, wonderful.
I guess.
Maria, I was thinking maybe that should be like a warning what I did, like on the timestamps, something like a warning. I mean, I might have been the only one that did it, but
Well, you won't, but if you've done it, others will.
exactly, that's what I
I'm
was
pretty
thinking
sure I did it. I think I did it too, Rosemary.
in the beginning, yeah. So yeah, warning would be nice. Maybe a little emoji.
Yeah, we're making all the mistakes for the people, that are going to follow us.
Almost the kind of thing you have to make the mistake to get it.
You do, don't you? I mean, I've made so many mistakes, and John was on about before, he's done, how many 100 stitches was it, John, that you feel you've done? I think I've done double that.
Oh yeah, I don't
Unpicked them.
couldn't guess.
But yeah.
It's also a valuable lesson for me on what things are the hardest to communicate over Zoom. I'll definitely need to know
Yes, doing it and explaining it are very different, aren't they? They're very, very different skills.
Yeah, and which phases really should have, I should request a photo be emailed to me for verification rather than just trying to squint over Zoom.
And we're so talented that, you might take it a lot for granted, that we're. I'm just kidding.
Yes, there's been so few. I mean, really, that's actually true that so far there hasn't been many like, oh, I have to redo the entire blah 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 blah.
That we are aware of. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm hiding some of mine over here. I'm hiding. You'll never know. You'll never know.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so let's do a bit of silent practice and then we can reconvene.
Hey, y'all. My stitches are deteriorating. I think it's time to quit.
I know what you mean, Ellen.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, this just isn't happening anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Something
good to
just
see
slips,
everybody.
doesn't it? Something just starts to slip, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And
it's just not
yeah.
going to happen.
Good time for a break.
See you
Yeah,
later.
it's good to have
See.
you here.
Thank you.
And I've realized I'm starting to kind of befriend this unpicking process.
Yeah.
It's feeling more, the more I do it, the more it's actually beginning to feel like just stitching forward. It's not feeling like going back.
I was doing the Namukie Butsu, but to it, and I decided that undoing is most intimate.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like apologizing, right?
What is it? The two oh gosh, it's from the Okamura book is where I learned it. One sitting, two practices, three minds, and the two practices are vow and repentance. And this is the repentance part, and the sewing is the vow, I guess.
Could you repeat that? Oh, well, we have it on tape, actually.
Doesn't have to say it again.
I forget. Ichizen, meaning one sitting, ni something for two practices, and sanshin for three heart minds. The three heart minds are the magnanimous, parental, and joyful that you learn about in Dogen's instructions for the cook, if you want to know more, or if you've seen it. And then the two practices are repentance and vow. So this is, I guess, I was joking that the undoing was the repentance part and the going forward is the vow part.
Yeah, thank you. That was
Love
great.
that.
Great little talk.
Yeah, because it's beginning to feel like that it's all like not going backwards and forwards, if you know what I mean. It feels like it's all sewing it, isn't it? It's all one process. It's not split. The mistakes and the forward motion is the same thing. It's the same thing. There's no difference. There's no split. It's like receiving and giving. There's no difference. I feel like the unpicking and the going forward is becoming. I'm losing the frustration, and I'm really noticing that and just recognizing it as all part of. So this is my lamp that you can keep. I bought them things that Jan got, the magnet, and they just didn't work for me. So I've ended up like with like a spotlight thing next next to my,
That's good.
next to my Rakasu. I'll stop sharing quick in case you can see my stitches.
Did I show you these?
But
that
yeah,
I
it's
got?
this thing. It's just like a torch that you use for the
And you
cabbage.
know, I
Did
have
I
a
show you
friend
these?
who's a jewelry designer, and she wears like the miner's lamp on her forehead
Yeah, I might actually use that
to
because
do
I have
her
one too,
jewelry
yeah.
work.
These work pretty well. I get to aim them wherever I want.
yeah, they
That's
look good.
cool. How does
They
that
look
work, Marla?
Little on-off switches right here,
Oh,
and it's bendy,
yeah,
and it's USB rechargeable.
very cool.
I use it for reading
I'm
sometimes when I'm
sold.
at somebody's house.
Does
I'm
it have a
sold.
name? A collar light or something?
I got it on Amazon. I
Very
could send you
cool.
the link. And you have different brightnesses. Anyway, we're all bragging about our lights.
You really need it, don't you? It's like you
Oh
can't
my God, yeah.
get in there and see.
Huh.
My house
Especially,
lights don't seem to be doing it.
I'm fortunate to work by window light, but I'm sure right now, Maria, you don't have that luxury.
No,
It's
it's
oh, I can
dark
see. Yeah, it's dark.
outside
Yeah.
now. So I've got like just lamps and then a big light at the top, but they don't quite do it. They
Oh
don't
no.
get in there. So yeah, I'm still figuring it out. Up to now, I've got this. It's got a little hook on it, so I can hook it around the lamp that's already on.
Nice.
And then you can use
It's
it for your auto repair, and then you can use it in the attic, and
use it for
It's
looking
called
in
a
my
shop
wardrobe.
light, isn't it?
I
It's
think
a
It's
so.
shop
what?
light. It's for contractors. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
got a
but it does
hook
have a
so I can
cable. That's
hang
nice.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way handier than the ones that I used to see where it was just like on the end of an extension cable was the only way to power it. So that's a lot handier there to have it.
Yeah, it is. And it's a really good light, but you just don't want it at your face.
Oh,
Every now and again it turns round and it's like, ah.
you could use that for Zoom to be like Hollywood, you know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think no, I think it'd just show up all my flaws.
I mean, one of those rings, the beauty rings.
Yeah, them
Yeah.
special lights that soften everything, not someone that's gonna highlight everything. Oh, dear. I've actually done a row today, so I'm getting, I'm quite pleased with that.
Well, I've been really working with my practice on my dualistic mindset that I was raised with, that you're either a complete failure or you're, brilliant. Because there's been a degree of turmoil with moving 1,000 miles to another state and having to get a new driver's license and take a test and get license plates and all this stuff. Because I am 3 weeks from now, I'm having a knee replacement. So I'm really not mobile. And so I've been kind of hard on myself about, and when I am in that dualistic state, I avoid the things that I'm not perfect in doing.
Yeah.
That aversion, is something I'm really trying to give myself some grace with. And it was really funny this week because here I am, lacerating myself because I'm so far behind everyone else. And a friend of mine has all the materials and she got them last summer with us. And then a family emergency precluded her from starting her Rakasu. And we were talking and she said, "You haven't finished your Rakasu yet?" She said, "Don't you have a sewing machine?" And I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of her, but I was like, oh boy, she in for a rude surprise.
If only, if
She said,
only.
"I thought I was just going to whip that thing out. I couldn't believe they're going to have classes every Sunday." So anyway, I'm not making fun. I just wish her good luck, starting, and I'll help her. But
Yeah. Preconceptions can be comforting. Help us to begin.
I'm
We
sure
think-
she's noodling that now and putting her sewing machine back in the closet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine doing this with a sewing machine because it's so many different little bits, isn't it? And
Oh, and that's not the point for crying,
yeah, yeah.
so much more fun this way.
Well, I hope, yeah, when's your knee replacement? Is
The
it
22nd. And I'm really looking forward to it because I've been in a lot of pain for about 6 months now. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so fortunate so quickly to come up here and reestablish care with an orthopedic surgeon and didn't
Yeah.
have to jump through all the hoops that I did in Colorado.
So glad you're getting that done.
Oh, me too. Oh my gosh. Because there's this beautiful city out here to explore, and I haven't been able to really enjoy it yet. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, it's like when it's your knee, you can't get away from it. Every time you move, you stand up, you move from one place to the next. The pain's there, isn't it? You can't get away from it. So, oh gosh, hopefully it's going to be life changing.
Well, it's going to be wonderful. I mean, I've gotten so used to the discomfort that,
Yeah,
yeah.
gosh, oh, I'm so
And
excited.
I'm so blessed because my best friends from Denver are going to come to the Twin Cities and take care of me for the first 10 days.
Oh, how lovely! How lovely is that?
I'm
Oh,
so lucky to
glad.
have friends like that.
I'm so glad you're getting. You deserve to be taken care of, Marla. I'm so
Well, I
glad.
don't know anyone here yet that well.
Yeah,
So it was such a relief.
yeah, absolutely. Oh.
But then I don't know how soon I'm going to be able to sew again. So I'll be back to, you got to sew.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you'd have to give yourself some time.
Well, I won't be able to stand up long. Here I've been standing for a long time. I'm still measuring my face. And so I need to get off my leg.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can sit here, just can't work.
yeah. You'll just have to
Also,
pop in
my
and say hi, won't you? You have to pop in and say hi and let us know how you're
oh
doing.
yeah, my practice cloth is so full that I really can't practice on it anymore. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get fabric? Because people are like, can I bring you a meal? And I really want to say, could you go buy me some broadcloth? Just pieces of, you know, random broadcloth.
Yeah,
I've just
yeah,
used a bit
I
of
took that.
shirt. I've
Yeah,
used an
it's
old
like
shirt.
I
exactly.
I don't
Or an
have
old,
one. I got rid of almost everything I owned before I moved.
there you go.
Moving
You don't
down.
have anything.
Back to
No
basics,
extra
aren't you?
clothes.
A tea towel. Just get a tea towel out.
Any
All the ones
garments that you'd like to, have a top stitch on?
I liked your little nod to that, Rosemary. Yeah.
In here, I only have sweaters because I was prepared for the cold. And so it's going to be a horrible shock in the summer. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh.
Well, it's less material. That's I've actually considered in the past. I've considered putting in like a little namukibutsu in the. I wear very plain shirts, and I was like, that'd be a nice little piece of ornamentation just right on the collarbone.
Yeah.
And I had to tear apart like what that was attachment to, but yeah, you could certainly do it. You could certainly do it,
Well,
or maybe
John,
even somewhere that isn't visible. Maybe that's
John, I'm always in awe whenever you put the spotlight on your sewing because your stitches are perfect,
Mm,
well,
front and back. It's
mm.
really inspirational. As John Eric said in his Dharma talk today, every person and everything is an inspiration.
There you go.
Yeah.
John, speaking of things we might need, I've been wondering whether, do you ever go through a whole spool of the thread? Should I, I'd hate to get to a point where, oh my God, I'm ready to do something and I have to wait 2 weeks for thread or something.
no.
Okay.
Like I said, there's about 6 meters of stitches, and this is 100 meters of thread. So
There you go.
yeah, I
Okay.
think we're.
That's
I
right.
will challenge probably by the time I get there.
I'll be
For
the
your
first
sake, if you
one. I'll be the first one to use the whole reel.
don't. It is a practice of devotion and dedication. So, it's
You never know. I caught myself having a thought before though, because I was doing the back of the Rakasu, and I had a thought the stitch wasn't quite right, and I thought, oh, it's on the back, and then I thought, no, it can come out. No one's going to see it on the back, and then I thought, no, it can come out, and I did it again, but I noticed the thought, of, do I really need to take it out? It's on the back of the Rakasu, so it's quite interesting catching myself.
I know.
But I'll know, so it's like, yeah. And it was sitting wrong, so I took it out.
I've remeasured my frame 150 times because, my long thing is only 92 centimeters and I keep getting to the end of something. It's like 2 or 3 centimeters off, and I'm like, ah, and I start over. So
Marla,
I
it
wiped
was,
out all the lines that I previously made, the long ones.
I know, my frame is exactly the same, as a million lines on it. It was my, my nemesis for a while. Same exact thing.
Was
And
it
guess
was it the
what?
same
With the
was it the same
straps,
kind
we'll
of
have the same thing. Sorry.
was it the same kind of root cause that you didn't have a long enough yardstick?
Well, the first time it was because I sillily made the assumption that the end of my yardstick was 92 centimeters, and it wasn't. It was 4
Mm.
centimeters shorter than that. So I did everything wrong, and then I went back and went, aha! And you probably saw me going, yay, because I figured it out. And then, yeah, so, and then every time, and as you warned us, the more we move our measure, the more error is introduced.
Yeah.
So I've been correcting errors and then making them again. So
it goes. I'm asking because I'm considering how could that be improved for, how can I learn from, because it's so much easier in person. If y'all came to me and said, can you come check this? I could come check that and it would be done. And what can we do to make this is to my knowledge, dedicated all online Rakasu sewing. We may be the first. We may be the kind of trailblazing on this. So I don't know if there is that one guy on YouTube who's published some videos on it. So that might not be entirely true, but I think we are certainly investing the most time and thought into it of anyone I'm aware of. So how can we keep?
well, ask somebody to manufacture a measure that's 92 inches long or 92 centimeters long. That would have helped me.
Yours is 92 centimeters?
It's 91.6. So I was always 4 centimeters off or 4 millimeters off.
That seems kind of short.
Does it? It's the same one that Rosemarie has.
So wait, so that measure is 92.6 centimeters long, not
91.4.
91.4. How long is your frame measurement? I guess is what I'm asking.
Oh, 120.6.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's within the expected range. I thought you were saying that your frame measurement was 92. So yours is a yardstick then, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
It is. And I couldn't find one that was simply centimeters. Yeah. But this is the same one you have, right, Rosemarie? Because you gave me the link.
Yeah, and it's so mine issue was getting the corners, getting 90-degree corners. I started trying to use the selvage and it just didn't work. And yeah, I just couldn't get 4 90-degree corners with something that long. I'd never worked with anything that long before and that narrow before.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I mean, that's why there's some joy in going, oh, it's right now.
Yeah, I mean, you feel quite, once you've done it, you're like, because there's a lot of stages I thought, I am not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then it unfolds bit by bit, doesn't it? And with help and support, it's unfolded bit by bit. And it's like,
it's most enjoyable when it's a micro process rather than a macro process.
Yeah, you can't think of it all at once, can you? You just can't do that. You have to think, what's right now? What am I doing right now? And that bit, and then it's manageable, isn't it? We don't get, because otherwise there's an overwhelm of, oh God, the straps and oh this and oh, it's like, no, just this bit.
Yeah, like I look at the face right now, I think, how did I ever do that?
Yeah.
How did I ever do that? And it was just what you said, one little, connection and attachment at a time.
Well, you just got right to the heart of my practice in that, it's the macro view. It's like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. And the good news is that by being averse to doing this, I have accomplished so many other things. It's like, oh, instead of sewing, I will go, do that.
Or whatever. Procrastination thing.
I'll go send birthday cards to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, since I made such a mistake this time, I'm kind of glad that I wasn't as diligent as I wanted to be this week. I would have been, I would have had a lot more to take out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're-
So, no.
That's good. That was serendipitous.
I think one of my anxieties was the squares, and when you went through them last week, John, it was like, oh, there was like something relaxed in me, and just made me think, oh God, that now looks doable. That looks
Good.
like I can, because you broke it right down, didn't you, and went through every stage, and it was like that's what I needed, and because I was worrying about them because I hadn't seen them done, and now I've seen them done. It's like, oh, not that it'll be easy, but I feel there's a way there. I can, there's a way through now. So I was really grateful for that break.
Your disbelief was banished. That like nobody can do that. You cheated.
Watching the videos has become like Zazen for me, except that I take notes. This is one like 15 minutes of video. I took that many notes. I'm like writing down, John sniffed his nose. I'm just kidding.
Let's keep that one to yourself, Marla. That sheet of paper, at least let me review it before you publish it anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna get with Gene Selkirk. Write an addendum to the sewing the Buddha's robe. And
No. Oh no. No. We're at the top of the hour, so my folks are expecting me, so I'm gonna bow out. So good to
Thank
see
you.
you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good to
And
see
see you
you all.
next week.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you all soon.
See you soon.